Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Merman Mondays. I'm one of your hosts, Merman Christian. Now, if you are a first-time viewer here, what we do is myself and my co-host, Capital Merman, what we like to do is every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we like to have a guest on from the mermaid community where we have an hour of power and a little bit of tea time. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. All right, so we have a very special guest for you this evening, and it's a merman. We haven't had a merman on in a while, so we're definitely excited about this one. So before I get Jacob on here, so as you guys know, I am still currently running my contest to win a free Mermaid Linden monofin. Yes, I said the F word, free. And I know you guys like free stuff. So, so all you have to do is share my account on your story or on your page, tag Merman Christian, and you will be automatically entered to win a free Mermaid Linden monofin once I reach 10K followers or more. The goal is more, but we'll start at 10K. So that's all you have to do. And I will make a mental note of it. And then once I hit that number, on the show here, well, maybe on the show, we'll see. I might do my own little video, but who knows what the future holds. But I will reach into a fishbowl and pull out a name of who the winner is. You will be contacted, and I will even let you pick the color if it's available. All right, so let's get Jacob on here, because I'm done yapping for the evening. Well, for this intro anyway. I'm definitely not done yapping for the evening. All righty. You guys like the hats? I think you guys do.
There's never a limit of sass with you, is there?
No.
Hi,
you know,
everyone.
It's funny because I was looking back at one of my memories on Facebook, and it was like one of those, like, challenges, like, when you were a kid and then now you're an adult. So, and there's one where I'm literally posing against my grandparents' grill, like, hand on the waist and everything, like looking like that. I'm like, well, that's foreshadowing at its finest.
Feeling the teenage fantasy right there. I heard you talking about your giveaway, and I think we might do that on the show, or did you want to do that on your story? I think we mentioned that last time. We actually haven't discussed it, but yeah, about your giveaway. But I'm super excited about anybody who joins because those Linden monofins are crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, come on, like I said, free.
Yeah, I mean, also, more importantly, other than just owning a Mermaid Linden monofin, for anybody who is actually attending Mermagicon and performing or competing in the Merlympics, you are currently talking to last year's gold medalist, and that is actually what I wore to win it. So if you want to compete against me really well, I'm looking at Olive, who just joined right now. You could certainly wear one of those monofins, see if you could beat me or the two other top 3 finalists.
It's great for maneuvering in these games. So, yeah, you guys...
Olive is saying they're coming for me. Oh, my gosh. But speaking about new stuff, Christian and I actually launched our Patreon. So if anybody who would like to help Merman Mondays, it would actually benefit both of us really, really well. Him and I dedicate a lot of time to this show, and I mean, it does cost us a little bit of money, producing all these things, so it would help us a lot. If anybody would like to make a small donation, you can find this on my link tree, and soon you'll find it on Christian's link tree as well.
Yes.
He's creating a link tree, but yeah, it would be really helpful and also very humbling if anybody would like to donate to that so we can continue producing this awesome show for everyone and bringing wonderful information for everyone. But tonight's guest, the guest of honor. Christian, tell us a little bit.
Well, our guest this evening, as I said when I started this feed, it is another merman because we have not had a merman on the show since Merman Caspian, so it's been a while. So this guest runs his own Podcast, which you guys will find that out later on in tonight's episode. And let me tell you about our guest. It is never a dull moment with this merman.
No. Christian and I actually hung out with him at last year's Mermagicon. It was my first time personally meeting him. I know you know him from the past, and I really enjoy hanging out with him. And like you said, there's never really a dull moment. He really likes cracking some quick, witty jokes.
Yeah, and they will hit you from out of left field too, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, because he kind of sits there so quiet, and then he'll just chime in with that one zinger, and you're like, huh, hold on, wait, where'd you come from?
A new meaning to silent but deadly.
Well, I am really looking forward to tonight's guest because he does host that Merman Podcast, which is not quite exactly what we do here. We do a live Instagram show where he does a recorded podcast, which is similar. I mean, it's along the same lines, but, you know, different audience, different hosts, different guests. I'm very excited to get his perspective on how he runs his show and what he likes to bring to the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been on the show twice now, so it is definitely a good time, and it is definitely a tea time as well. So let's get him on here. Let me get him on here. All right, guys, one moment.
By the way, Christian, you like my new hair? I haven't shown you. I shaved it all off.
Wait, you're bald?
Essentially.
God.
I went pretty short. I know. I really did go short this time.
I have no intentions on shaving my head.
Oh, no. If you would, I'm pretty sure everyone in the mermaid community would have a riot.
All right, while we wait for our guest, I was literally just having this talk last night with Merman Rogue about, because we were talking about, like he was asking about like my early days and when I had short hair and everything. Yeah. And I was like, I look at two phases of my journey. There's pre-Finn Folktale and then there's post-Finn Folktale. Yeah. And the post-Finn Folktale, Christian is when the long hair started coming in. But speaking of coming in, here comes our next guest, guys. All right. Perfect. I know I hit this button here.
Loading.
Oh my goodness, what is going on here?
Instagram, man. Instagram is the worst. I mean, let's not try to relive Christian's Instagram fiasco a couple weeks. Yeah.
There he is.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm embarrassed. You talked me up way too much, but
see now the pressure's on, so now you have to be insanely amazing.
Oh, but I asked Merman Christian. I don't know if he asked you, Capital Merman, but can I do Oh, okay. Can I do it?
Yeah, absolutely. But go ahead and tell our guests exactly what you're about to do.
Okay. I'm going to do an intro for Merman Mondays. You're watching Merman Mondays. I'm your special guest, Merman Terter B, and we're being hosted by Merman Christian and Capital Merman. Welcome to Merman Mondays.
Well, it's definitely great to be here.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I am super excited about having you tonight. I mean, as people saw, you have your mic, you do your podcast. I don't know how often you do your podcast, but I know it's out there. People can certainly go out and listen. But I'm really excited to kind of dive in and get your perspective because I personally never have produced a podcast. Christian said he's been on yours a couple times. But I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how what Christian and I do and what you do kind of are similar and different at the same time.
Yeah. Usually what I do or what I did in the past, I just went through Instagram and just kind of picked people randomly. Like Merman Christian, he was like the first big name I think that I had. But like I just kind of, I guess starting out as a merman, I didn't really know who was who. Mm-hmm. So that definitely helped. Doing the podcast, and just kind of doing one led to another. And I would just ask them if they wanted to do a podcast with me and interview them about their merman journey, and most of them told me yes, but I did have a few tell me no, which is totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, certainly getting declined to be on such like a wonderful outreach within our community can certainly be disappointing because, you know, I'm sure Christian, yourself, and myself, we all share the same goal in regards to our outreach with our platforms. But I mean, before we get into discussing specific topics tonight, could you tell us a little bit about yourself in your own words? What do you do in this community that we have? How long have you been involved, and what really keeps you going?
I got my first tale in I think 2018. Roughly maybe June or July-ish, maybe even April. But I joined a Facebook group. I think it was Great Lake Mermaids. The name might have changed back then, but I looked up a Facebook group. I'd always been curious about being a merman. I'd seen Eric, YouTubed it here and there.
Yeah.
And then the pod leader at the time, she reached out to me, and we were chatting back and forth, and she said, oh, like, well, what's holding you back from getting a tail? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't want to invest the money and then find out I don't like it or it's not for me. And she's like, okay, fair enough. Well, what are your measurements? And I'll see if I can find you a tail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she belonged to a secondhand tail group, and I told her my measurements, and like within maybe a half hour, she got back to me, and she's like, actually, here's the name of a guy. He lives in California. He has your shoe size and your height, and he has a mono fin for the Fantasy 1. And a skin to go with it. So I paid $150 for the first fantasy fin, 1, and then a skin to go with it. And it was only worn 3 times. It maybe swam with once or twice. Yeah,
that's an absolute score.
Yeah, I know. And then from there, at some point, we chatted a bit more, and then she ended up hosting a pod meet. And I ended up going to a pool with them. I think there were about maybe 4 or 5. I was the only merman. And then we met a few other times. And then eventually the pod got bigger and we met a few other places. And then the podcast came along. Probably, I don't know. I want to say maybe winter-ish was when I did like the small intro. And then maybe that following spring is when I got my actual guest, Merm Comics, and it just kind of went from there. But I started the podcast because there wasn't really a resource out there for guys. Yeah. There was one guy who had done something a little similar. His name is, I think Journal Merman or the Journalist Merman. It's something like that. It had been a few years since he had posted anything with his podcast. And he only had 4 episodes, and he interviewed the guy of Nation prior to having Nation. Mm-hmm. So if you can kind of read between the lines with that one,
talk about tea time.
Yeah. He talked about that process, like molding and sculpting. I think it's been forever, but he only made 4 episodes, only had 1 merman. And then I listened to another podcast prior to that called the Mermaid Podcast, reached out to her, asked her if I could do the Merman Podcast, if I could use that name and kind of be similar. Never heard back from her, so I just went with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's awesome. I mean, we're happy to have you as part of this community. I know I am. I know Christian is, because he considers you one of his dearest friends, and I'm happy that I met you at last for MagicCon.
Yeah.
I mean, what you're doing in this community is great. We're happy to have what you're doing and doing all the good work.
Thank you.
Doing the Mermaid Lord's work.
Right, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. God, we're not even 10 minutes in yet. Oh gosh. All right. Well, this kind of segues into my next question, even though you kind of already answered it. Darn you. So let me reword a couple things here. So, all right. Now, being a merman in this business, you know, mostly female-dominated business, so obviously it does not come without its obstacles and definitely side eyes from those who aren't really used to seeing, you know, a man with a tail or fins. So what would you say was your first kind of moment like that, where like, or even if you've had a moment like that where you've had, you know, a couple of those onlookers be like what is that guy doing? Like, what's his deal? And, you know, do you have any story, you know, any things like that that you want to share? And, you know, and what makes you just want to, what do you think you want to bring to the table next?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd like to hit you with them doubles.
Yeah. I don't think I've really encountered anything. However, I did really worry about it beginning with. I mean, you don't really see mermen to begin with. And I worried about, like, even swimming at the pool with a group of mermaids, like, people thinking, like, I automatically go to the worst place possible, but, like, automatically thinking you're a pedophile, you want to abduct their children and give them candy. And,
well,
right.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, I remember feeling, I don't want to say embarrassed, but really shy about it. Like, swimming out in public, like, even at an apartment pool, I was a little shy. Like, when I first got my tail, I did try swimming in the apartment pool. I made sure nobody was there. And, like, I jumped in real quick and went around it, and I jumped out and, like, ran like hell to go back to the apartment.
Well, it's not even, like, shy. It's almost like a weird form of, like, being, like, shameful about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like you're, like, shy. You're like, yeah, I have a tail. That's kind of cool. But, like, swimming in it, you're like, I don't know if I should do this.
Or in a way, like you're sort of, like, stripped of your sense of security.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, in a way, you're almost naked.
Yeah.
Like, you have your tail, but, I mean, you don't have a shirt or, I mean, I didn't have a crown or anything on it at the time either.
Well, it's almost like society raised many people to, like, wear shirts, wear pants, wear socks, wear shoes, and suddenly wearing something that society's never properly mentally or physically prepared you to wear. And that's why you feel naked, because you're like, this is unusual. People are going to think it's unusual. You kind of, like I said, you feel shameful about it. So, yeah, no, I get it. I completely understand.
Right. And it actually, totally like a side story, but I remember going to the beach for the first time with my niece and nephew and my sister and mom, and I brought the tail with me. And I'm like, I'm not going to say anything to my niece and nephew. I'm just going to swim out there with it. So I swam by. They screamed with delight, but they said Vaporeon, the water Pokemon that kind of looks like a mermaid tail. Yeah, they're like, Vaporeon! And they were trying to jump on me for a ride and everything.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Well, I'm certainly sorry that you feel that way. I mean,
I don't anymore.
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm sure the three of us don't really even care anymore.
Yeah. No, but, like, yeah, in the very beginning, I think it goes for nearly any merman. Yeah. Like, it's very, I don't know how to describe it, but, like, you really think about it.
Yeah. I remember my first time swimming in a pool, with my very first swim and my first tail. Like, I got in and I was excited and I was happy, but at the same time, I kept, like, poking my head up. I'm like, are the lifeguards looking at me? But now, 9 years later, I just stroll right in there with my, tail over my shoulder. I'm like, hey.
Right. Well, like, way back when, like, hell, I don't know. But, like, when you first did it, mermaiding wasn't really a thing. I don't think it really started to become known until about maybe 2-3 years ago, if that even, like, maybe just last year, it's become a little bit more.
Well, I want to say it's become more in the last few years. It's definitely has taken a giant leap into mainstream now.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't go anywhere without there being something related to mermaids, just in any store. I mean, it's all over, it's all over Walmart. It's a Target.
Yeah.
I see kids monofins in Target. And, that's not something that, you would see 10 years ago.
No.
Right.
And it's just, it's insane. And when I started, it was more of just a very small community. And I want to say it got like a big jump, even before it went mainstream. I want to say probably around maybe like 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So after a couple years I'd been in it, that's when it really started to catch on. And that's when, at the time, silicone tails were all the rage, and, they phased out latex tails. So yeah, it's just insane how much it's exploded. I mean, it's a great thing, but it's also not a great. It's like a fine line, kind of weird balance, because you'll have people that think, oh, well, I can be a mermaid or a merman or a siren, and then they get a tail, and then they jump in the water without any kind of training leading up to swimming like that. And so it's like it's a great thing, but it's also, it can be a safety concern with how mainstream it's become.
Yeah, certainly what we discussed with our previous guest, Olive, we talked about this accessibility, this new easy access to these type of products, and how, it's so great, but Olive and I are very adamant about water safety, and how like people like Olive and I are just like kind of like cringe, like we're happy, like Christian said, it's awesome to have this huge influx and growth of the community, but like, what is that danger that's coming with it? Not only physically in the water, but also what's the danger of having so many people who aren't quite educated to a community that's already established or still establishing itself. So yeah, no, that's a little scary.
Yeah. Well, like go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, speaking of scary, like prior to the pandemic, I think like roughly a few months before it happened, or that summer, I was trying to find pools for our pod to swim around in. And like a lot of YMCAs, they won't let you. It was super hard to find a pool that will let you swim because of the safety concerns they have with mermaiding.
YMCAs seem to carry that as well.
Right.
Yeah. Red Cross headquarters is right down the street from me. I might as well just go march into their building, man. I should just do it.
Do it.
Chris and I are so excited to actually be celebrating a milestone here next week. We're going to be hitting episode 20, which is 20. Insane. I know. I can remember him and I doing like episode 7 or something. Like,
yep.
What do we do? I mean, for your podcast, have there been any recent milestones yourself? And what type of topics do you discuss on there, as people are kind of understanding what Christian and I talk about on this show? What kind of areas of the community do you hit?
For the most part, I usually just try to, I guess, hitting like the male community, trying to get information out there, like saying it's normal to have a little bit of a bulge in your tail, like you can't help it. And then just, I guess, trying to get mermen or people who are thinking about becoming a mer in general, it's okay.
Yeah.
Milestones, probably that I recently got a semi-professional-ish microphone a few months ago.
Fancy.
Thank you. I'm going to be starting season 3. And actually, it's going to be kind of like a recap of MerManCon 2021 and then talking about 2022. And that guy is in it.
Me. Oh.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where you're at, but to me, you're up there.
He's like baby mer Jesus.
Right. Oh, yeah, kind of. He has the hair and the beard.
No, but Christian's definitely old enough in this community.
Don't make that a thing, please.
Let's do it. Sorry. Anyway, continue answering.
As far as milestones, though, I can't really think of any. Like, I never really set a particular goal or anything.
Well, how many episodes are in a season? You said you're on your 3rd season. You're about to start it.
I'm about to start it. I took a break for about maybe almost a year, if not. But like, I do a quick update here and there just to let people know I'm still around and planning to come back. I don't know. Like, when the pandemic started, I thought, okay, like now's my chance to really knock out like tons of interviews. I'll get them recorded, then I can go back and edit them. Well, I was working in a clinic. I still do, but I work at a different clinic now. During the pandemic, like I kind of got burnt out from that. And then I ended up moving. And what I do with my podcast, while we're recording, I'm taking notes and writing down like the time where I want to cut it. Like if somebody were to sneeze or be like, I have to go to the bathroom, I'll be right back. I'll hurry up and write like that timestamp. That way I can go back and like, okay, I know to cut like right here and here. I lost that during a move. So I had to sit here and listen to like the ones that I had left and try and cut them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Anchor, the program, I'm totally getting off subject. The program I was using to record with at the time, it was like overlaying or like putting too much of a gap between us, which totally didn't happen while we recorded. So I like in between that time, I figured out, I guess one milestone, I figured out what program to cut the audio with, another program to actual record with, and then I ended up getting a new microphone because I joined another podcast in between that called Gem Boys, where we talk about our love for Gem and the Holograms, an old 80s cartoon, good girl, bad girl rock group competing for the charts.
I love it.
There's music, magic, glamour, fashion, fame. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a lot of fun.
I'm a child of the 90s. I know nothing about that.
Oh, what?
I know Christian. Christian's like, don't make me feel old.
But like even 90s babies appreciate it too. Like you might have seen a rerun of it on USAA or Boomerang.
Probably. I probably have actually.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm a pretty humble person. I don't really think of milestones that much or think about myself too much either.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, Christian, could you imagine the luxury of having bathroom breaks between our shows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's rare that you see us drinking anything during this hour, so.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. By the way, Christian, did the comments stop for you? I know that we've recently had that issue.
Yes, they did stop. Oh, wait, hold on.
Did they?
Oh, wow, there's a lot. Well, they stopped, and, okay, oh, there we go. Okay. All right, they stopped from History of Mermaids, Jesus. So that's where we're at, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Christian and I have noticed that, like, our live comments will randomly glitch and, like, just stop. So we don't really know. So if you're saying something, we're so sorry. We'll definitely go back and watch, though. But anyway, Christian, go ahead.
Well, now, you know, I've known you for a few years now, you know, pre-pandemic too, which, you know, that's a fun term to use these days. So out of this whole journey so far of being a merman, what has been your favorite part other than your podcast? You can't use that as an answer. I want to hear other stuff.
Okay. Probably my favorite part of my merman journey so far is going to Mermagicon and getting to meet everyone, or at least a lot of people I've followed, making new friends. And actually at Mermagicon 2020, I had my best friend Kate there, and on the way coming home, we were talking about it. And like, I don't want to call it an aha moment or come to Jesus moment, but it was Sunday. I had goggles on. It had to be the open swim. I remember like being kind of down deeper and like just looking up. The sun was shining through the windows of the roof, and like I could just see merfolk swimming everywhere. It was like a whoa moment for me. But like favorite part of the journey, getting to meet everybody and just sharing stories and hanging out with fellow merfolk.
So that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone we ask that, they're just like friends. And that's like such a humbling, nice answer to know, you know?
Yeah.
That like everyone's most like important part to them in this community is friendship.
I hope one day you two get an answer saying, yeah, like at a Mermagicon, I scored that Mer Taylor tale that's no longer in print, or Finn Folk no longer being made, for like a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We might get it.
Yeah.
We have a very large community that we are slowly making our way through, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. I mean, so being in this community, I mean, both of you have been in this community a little bit longer than me. If you're Christian, you've been in this community a lot longer than me, trying to show your age there. Uh, if you were wanting another merfolk out there to create something new in this community, whether it be another show, organization, company, accessory, etc., what would you like to see out there? And just say the first thing that came to your mind.
Oh, Merman accessories. I've thought this for a while. And like if I had the time and money and energy, whatever, resources to do it, it would be so cool to open up a merman geared, like, I guess, I don't want to say swimwear because Mer Taylor is already doing that, but like stuff made for merman, or like maybe even non-binary mers too.
Yeah, I think Christian and I both agree on that. Yeah.
But aside from that, I don't know. Maybe more tails. Like, I feel like when it comes to tail releases too, especially for mermen, at times it's like there's nothing really male oriented with this release. They're all very bright, kind of remind me of butterflies at times.
I feel seen.
Yeah, that you are. But yeah, like just some tail releases too. Like it would be nice to have maybe like a more variety in like male or like darker tones, or like just something a bit different.
Like more silvers, and dark greens, and yeah. AKA Jacob's living room.
Yes, actually, yes. I think every room in my house is either gray, navy, or white. So yes. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think we should definitely, as men in this community, those who identify as men or more masculine, should push for things like that. I mean, personally, for me, I know I've been reaching out to those who make those accessories, and I'm like, hey, do you want to cater to mermen? And if they say yes, I say, great. Would you like some help designing something? Like, I'm like, I'll help you design something. It's not because of my own personal benefit. I want to make sure everyone else out there feels like there's something, you know? I mean, gauntlets are nice, but you know, there's got to be something more than just gauntlets.
Yeah, you're right. Like
I've had to say in something related to all this. I can't say what it is. I'm sworn to secrecy, so I'll just say it's coming. Okay. It's coming. And personally, this is, you know, as you guys know, I'm a gold merman, always gold merman, but I would love to see someone do a flashy barracuda tail. Like, I'm looking at you, Terror of the Deep.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Ooh.
That would be cool.
You know what I have never seen? No one's actually taken the most sporty fish out there. The marlin. You know how like the marlin has those white see what I mean? No one's done that.
Actually, I do think someone did do a marlin tail from Mer Nation a while back. The name escapes me at the moment, but I've absolutely seen it in person before.
By the way, just want to let Christian and you know that I have pulled up our Instagram live on my laptop, which is right over here, that some of you guys don't know. I use it as my monitor. So I can see our live comments right now. So
good.
Just want to let, everyone out there that's making comments, I can see.
And actually, one more thing too about mermen. It would be nice to see more shapes, because like, I'm not going to name drop, but you have one particular site that has very few fit mermen that model their tails. It's like one or two, maybe three people. I haven't checked it lately, but another well-known company does more body shape type stuff. Granted, few mermen, but maybe a few more. But it would be nice to see more body shapes, period. But more mermen as well.
I could not agree with that more.
And more hair.
Yeah, you're right. That's like a thing too. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was
now,
just saying,
this kind of hair, or
people can have more majestic hair like Christian.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like body hair.
We'll come at you with scissors.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just shaved my head. I don't really have a stand on.
But yeah, more hair too. Like longer hair because it's like a social construct. Guys
Mm-hmm.
have to have short hair.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, anybody that wants to grow theirs out like I did, y'all get ready for the upkeep.
Yeah.
Lots of conditioner, and guys, don't forget to trim. Trim, trim, trim.
Yes.
Your hair, Merman Christian, is always fabulous at Mermagicon.
Thank you.
Well, anytime, but I mean, like,
it gets destroyed as soon as I get in the humidity of the pool. But thank you.
I believe it.
Oh my goodness, Christian, I wish you could see this. There's so many people having discussions in our chat right now. They're like listening to us, but like talking to each other. It's awesome. It just makes my heart so warm. I wish you could see this.
I can see them. I'm looking at Terror of the Deep's comment right now.
Oh, it loaded. Sweet. The Okay, Christian, move on to our next question.
We're going to move on to our next question here. All right. It's getting a little crazy here. So let's go back to the podcast for a minute. So, yeah. I mean, you kind of already, see, you're just jumping way ahead of me. I just need you to not talk as much until we hit you with each of these questions. How has the pandemic really affected like the flow of your podcast? Now, I know you were saying that you took the time to figure out the new program so that way, you didn't have those glitches in there, but really, like, did you have a sort of an outline of how quickly you wanted to roll those out, pre-pandemic, and so how is all this madness taking a toll on the Merman podcast?
Pre-pandemic, I think my goal was like once a month at least to get a podcast out. I didn't really have a particular date or anything set. And then during the pandemic, like I said, I thought, okay, like now it's my opportunity. I can get like back to back to back to back. At one point, I did have back-to-back interviews. I would do one earlier in the day, then do like another one in California or somebody else at a later time that day. I remember, I think in particular, it was Craig Harvey, Merman Mona, I think his name is, and then Merman Icarus. I did those two.
Oh, okay.
Day. I'm pretty sure of it. If not, I know Merman Icarus. Like, I know those two were somewhere in there, but I did do like 2 in a day before. I had them recorded, and then somewhere Merman Blitz came into, or Blitz Tsunami came into it, and it was the BLM that was happening. I'm like, okay, like I want to get him on the show, touch on it real quick. But like just everything with the pandemic, eventually burnout. Like I'm still burnt out. Burnout caught up to me. And then like I thought, okay, I'm gonna throw myself into school full time. Went to school full time. I bought a house. Was moving his shit back and forth. Sorry, and like
okay.
trying to paint, trying to like do repairs and like get stuff ready. It was just a whole lot. I did manage during the pandemic to get a few more out, but like just as life happened, it just kind of sat there for a little bit. But I would do updates, and actually, I'm friends with another podcast, Halloween Art and Travel. She reached out to me a few times. Yeah, the Halloween Art and Travel podcast.
You said the H word.
Yeah. Oh, give her a listen. You'll love it. She reached out to me, and like a few other people would reach out here and there. I've got plans and I've got ideas. I would eventually like to do a YouTube channel too. Not for every podcast episode, but like for a few particular things. It would be fun. So yeah, I guess I'm not quite sure what the question was. Oh, what I plan to do, or like what happened during the pandemic?
Well, the question originally was what happened during the pandemic, but actually my next question was, what do you plan to do?
Okay.
Stop.
No, stop.
Well, I think
he literally read your mind 2 questions ahead.
And like maybe it's almost like a gift, but maybe I've been doing the podcast so long, I know, like, to go boom, 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 boom. Starting out with the podcast, I had a set of questions with Merm Comics, so I kind of typed it out, kind of followed along. Maybe I did it with the second or third guest, but after a while, I just kind of got the flow of it. Like, okay, we're going to go in chronological order. And then, like, what would your, after asking all the usual stuff, what would your dream tale be? If money was no object, what do you want to do in the future? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I remember that question on your podcast. I think you did ask me that question.
Yeah, yep, I did.
Well, don't read into my next question.
Okay.
You can keep doing that to Christian. Don't do it to me.
Okay.
However, being part of this community, I mean, we've discussed this with quite a few other merfolk, and Christian's a big advocate for the natural ecosystems all across the world, and how, being a mermaid is like putting on a hat for nature, and how you can do better by it. What are some things that you may do weekly or monthly, just around the place, around your house, around your community, to help your natural ecosystem, either within your geographical area or across the world?
Well, being a homeowner, that was like one thing I was excited to do was recycle, like breaking down boxes, washing out bottles, cutting even though I don't drink soda, but like if you have a party, cutting the little plastic ringy thingies. I think recycling was like the biggest thing for me, and trying not to waste water too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember learning how to cut the can rings from watching Nickelodeon back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Since, we're picking on my age all night here, so, yeah.
Christian, what's a big thing for you to do that you do regularly for, like, in regards to a natural ecosystem? What do you do?
What do I do? Well, this past summer, I actually bayscaped our yard. So I tried to plant a lot of native plants that are here on the Chesapeake Bay. And that actually helps with water filtration and runoffs and everything, and it really helps the soil a lot better. So yeah, that's a big thing here on the East Coast, on the Chesapeake Bay, and that's something I'd been wanting to do for a while. So I finally did it. So the yard looked amazing. And but also, and it's a good thing, for local wildlife too, especially a lot of insects and butterflies. And I know our neighbors a couple houses over, their front yard is kind of the same thing, and it's actually a certified wildlife habitat. So that's my next goal.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's actually really cool. I don't understand why more people don't use more native plants, because they're more than likely going to come back the next year, so you don't have to buy more.
Yeah, you don't have to waste that money replanting everything.
Yeah, they're easy upkeep, meaning like they're going to come back strong. They're not going to come back like weak. And then also, I believe Merman Road commented, it helps the bees. Especially with spring coming around the corner, anybody watching who's going to do their garden, follow in Christian's footsteps. Use plants that are native. It's just going to save you money down the long run.
Especially, yes, as Rode said, for the bees. I mean, guys, bees are considered, endangered and everything, which is a horrible thing to think about. So we got to help them. We got to help them bounce back. Yeah. So eventually, everything does recover, but we could give our little friends a boost. So if you do see a bee, don't swat at them. Just get out of their way, let them do their thing, and yeah.
Totally agree. But real quick, speaking of age, if you follow our Lord and Savior Hans Christian Andersen, the author of the original Little Mermaid, merfolk live to be 300 years.
That's
so
true.
You're really not that old.
No.
So yeah, Christian, how old are you now? 120? In mermaid years?
Oh, damn.
It's cute. Yeah, we'll say that.
Hey, it's tea time without a little shade.
Well, I got all the shade under this hat, so.
What's our next question before I get kicked
Moving
off?
on. Jeez. Well, you already answered my next question, so let's see. I'm just gonna... Let's see here. I mean, I could be terrible and steal one of Jacob's questions, because I have them all right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what? I am going to do it, because you've been coming at me about my age all night. So, so you are attending Mermagicon, are you not?
I am.
Excellent. In 32 days, no less. Yeah, guys, for those that are coming to Mermagicon, we're down to the crunch time here. So get all your things done and glued and sewn and whatever else you need to do to make yourself look amazing, because this is it. And so now, what are some things that you plan to do at this year's event? You know, what are, as people, any specific people you're looking forward to? I mean, aside from us, have you signed up for any classes or or classes that you think others should participate in?
Oh, I haven't signed up for any classes yet. I was thinking about the mer jewelry or mer accessory one. I thought that would be cool. The silicone class would be nice, but I'm never, ever, not for actually quite a while, probably ever going to make my own silicone tail. I can't. I've looked at it. I'll have to look again. I think they're still updating it, right? As far as what's going on? Okay.
Yeah, I believe they're updating, like, classes here and there based on, like, when a class fills, whether they should add another, but I know a lot of classes have filled.
I think I'm just mostly going this year, like, to hang out and to see everybody. Like, to see you guys and, like, half the people who are commenting right here, too. I don't want to name any names because I don't want, like, to play favorites or anything.
Right. God bless you for saying that.
No, thank you. Well, actually, I will give one shout out. Merman Icarus is coming from California.
Yes, he is again. We're going to be roomies, actually.
Oh, that's right.
I know, he stole my roomie, man.
Party in our room, lots of glitter and sparkles.
But, like, aside from that, I think this year, like, last year seemed pretty busy. Like, I tried to go visit a friend and, like, do so much in between. I felt like it took up a lot of time. But this year I'm just going to probably be hanging out, mingling with everybody, swimming. Yeah, so nothing hardcore planned yet.
Well, good. The hardcore will come when you get there.
Yeah, yep.
Drink Gatorade, a lot of it.
Christian, what are you looking forward to?
Oh, man. I mean, aside from, what we're all looking forward to, just really getting back together with everybody. And, I mean, at least we didn't have to wait this long this time because, we had the last one back in August. So it was only, what, 6 months?
6 months ago. As of right now, it's 6 months ago.
So, I mean, aside from that, just being in that atmosphere again and, meeting people that watch our show every week. So, and I mean, not to be biased, but I am really excited that the entire Finfolk team is going to be there.
Oh,
I know, that is actually really, that's extremely exciting because I believe they're bringing their big thing again that they brought a couple years ago. Do you know? You don't know. I know things, but I'm not going to say anything. Ooh, secrets.
Yeah.
Actually, Christian, you told me one thing you were going to be doing. Can you tell us about that or no?
What was? Oh man.
I know. Terter B, he's told me a lot of things he's doing. I have which thing that you are hinting at, or else I'd help you.
I'll give one hint. It has to do with the pool. The pool. We talked about it, and I can't hear you.
Yeah, I think you muted yourself. Your mouth.
We don't need him.
Nope.
We don't need him anyways. We can continue the show without. I wonder.
Look at the look. He doesn't even need to talk. Look at his face. He's talking so much shade right now, you guys. I can't even hear, but I know he's hating us. I can't hear you.
I hope he's saying the F word.
He's probably cussing the camera out right now. It's okay. He'll figure it out. Let's go ahead and keep going. He'll figure it out. Sure. When I hear you, I will let you know, Christian, but I cannot hear. If anybody else can hear him, please comment. I'm unable to. But Territory B, I'm really looking forward to asking this question. I've kind of wanted to ask previous guests this question because I ask myself this almost every week a little bit. If you were to take a different approach or position or role as a member of this community, besides one wearing a tail, what do you think your role would be, and why do you think that role would be your backup? I don't know, Christian, you're looking at me. I wish I could help. I don't know what to do.
I can hear you now.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Say something else.
Okay, that was really weird.
I can hear you. Good. We heard him. Anyway, Territory P, go ahead and answer the question. We're gonna try and ride this internet along.
Yeah. So if I could have a backup, would like having a YouTube channel count and being like a interviewer that way, or no?
No, I meant in our community, we've mentioned this in our previous episodes, there's multiple different spokes to the mermaid community wheel. We have, our hobbyists, we have our artists, we have our social media influencers, we have our photographers, we have our artists, we have things like that. What kind of role would you do if you weren't to wear a tail in this community, but you were still part of it?
Probably an artist, because then, I wouldn't have to worry about wearing a tail or anything. I could lay silicone out or make accessories or probably come up with wonderful illustrations and maybe do caricatures at Mermagicon of people in their mersonas. I think an artist would be the route I would go.
Awesome.
Well, speaking of next questions, you guys heard me say that, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes. So speaking of mersonas, now, Tara, you have a very interesting mersona, I've noticed. That, it floats between darker, more mysterious merman, but also a touch of fire and fierceness, too. Why don't you tell us all exactly who is Merman Terter B?
Oh, okay. I haven't thought about my mersona really, or not in a long time. Naturally, Merman Terter B is an interviewer. Freshwater mer, but going between the oceans or ponds, lakes, rivers, whatever. I like Victorian goth type stuff. So that's probably where the darker side comes into it, more neutral, not necessarily good, not necessarily evil, maybe just kind of standing back and watching everything unfold, and just kind of listening to people and taking it in without sharing too much, aside from the podcast, without sharing much that way. Actually, one of my tales is kind of inspired by that I had mermaid Sephora do. I'm sure I'm getting her name wrong, but Sephora, yeah. She did my Whimsy 3, or Whimsy with the Fantasy 3 fin. I told her that I like Victorian goth, kind of darker. I want red, purple, and black. And then she came up with my tale.
She does amazing work.
She does.
Her work is amazing. I can't wait to work with her in the future. It's awesome that you definitely got one of those custom whimsy tales. However, before Christian kind of goes into our, authentic, every last question of the interview that is the Christian question that I've only ever failed at twice trying to do.
Hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
We will be able to hear it, I promise.
Ridiculous.
However, before we get into that last question, our viewers watching right now, what are some questions that you want to ask here, Tara B? We do have a little bit of time left. I'm actually curious.
Said you want to ask us some stuff.
I do.
Go ahead and ask us a question while everyone writes down their questions.
Okay. So for you two, if someone were to say you're a mermaid, it's a two-parter question. If someone were to say you're a mermaid, how would you take it? And when people say mermaiding, do you consider that a general term for the whole community? Or would you, do you get offended? I'm pretty sure I know the answer for both of you. But for everybody else, they're no, I'm a merman or mer. what's your guys' take on it?
You might be surprised, but I'll let Christian go first.
All right. Well, I feel I look at the term mermaiding as more of a universal term, because, we've all grown up with the folklore of seeing, a mermaid as the predominant figure, in fantasies and fairy tales and, just like I said, just, folklore in our society. And, I use the term mermaiding and everything, but, I do know that when people refer to me as a mermaid, I kindly correct them and I say unfortunately I'm a merman. There are plenty of beautiful mermaids out there, but mermen are their own league. So, that's how I prefer to be addressed. That's how I identify in this business. So, yeah, that's my answer to that.
I agree with Christian. Up to a point, I definitely think mermaiding is a very general term because I feel like certain words in the English language becoming verbs, you can only really take one gender of the word and turn it into a verb. So I agree that, mermaiding is more of a general term. In regards to me calling a mermaid or merman, I some days I wholeheartedly agree with Christian's opinion. I stand by it. And then some days I almost like, it's not that I feel a certain way about mermaiding almost being a non-gender term. I almost just don't care. I almost am just kind of like, call me what you want. As long as you find it interesting and don't call me weird, we're going to be on a good page and we're all Gucci. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, as long as you don't call me that freak, call me whatever you want. If you want to call me a mermaid, but then there are some days where I'm like, nope, I definitely have very broad shoulders. I'm not a mermaid. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, no, that's actually a really good question. I don't see many questions, and we have people watching. Why isn't anybody writing questions? However, History of Mermaids definitely asked why are they getting the 13th year vibes now? Well, you want to know why? Because Christian has an awesome tale that's inspired by the 13th year. That's why.
Inspired, not a replica. Just to make that clear.
Well, Christian, if you would like to go ahead and go into our last question, more than happy to, before we announce our big, exciting news that everyone's probably been waiting for.
Well, first, let's ask our guest politely if he has any more, a final question for the two of us.
I do, of course. Like right now that we're near the end, like all this stuff is coming to my head.
As it always does.
As far as moving forward with the podcast, I want to interview more mermaids to get their takes on it. I've interviewed one, but I plan to do more. And then if anybody wants to be a guest, reach out and we'll see what we can do. And then what would you two like to see or hear from the podcast? Along with everybody else, but you two are right here right now.
A huge Rolodex just rolled through my head, so I'm trying to pick like which one's the most important. Probably more honesty, more honest answers, more honest opinions, more honest viewpoints in regards to things. When you're asked very forward questions, I feel like talking to some mermaids in person, I'll ask them questions like this, and I feel like they're kind of giving me a washed down answer, you know what I mean? Just kind of like giving me the polite answer, not because like they don't like me or something, they're just probably trying to remain politically correct or trying not to upset anyone.
Keep up the professionalism.
Yeah, I would prefer, every now and then, I mean, I understand keeping up the professionalism, but I would prefer, an honest answer. Give me your honest opinion, because that could help me or help someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I'd like to see that. I wouldn't mind seeing you do maybe more like maybe like themed episodes.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, like maybe you could do. Okay. I mean, ask your standard questions that you normally like to ask, but make it a theme night. Like you could specifically talk about like a certain topic in the mermaid community or an influence of it. Like that's something that I like to see.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Okay, I got ideas now.
Ooh. Well, we're always happy to help.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask the final fun question that you guys all know what it is. So, Terter B, what are some of your favorite ocean-related movies? It can be anything that you just love and that just inspire you.
I feel really bad for saying these two, but
Just say them. Remember what I said? Honesty.
Let them out. Honesty.
Finding Nemo and Finding Dory.
And what is wrong with that? I have both of them on Blu-ray.
Me too. Well, I have Finding Dory, but
there's nothing bad about that. I think Thomas Newman, who's the composer for both of those movies, did a phenomenal job.
And he just does phenomenal jobs with his scores all the time. Like I was listening to the score from one of my favorite movies, White Oleander. So, and it's just it's so haunting and just oh god, he's absolutely one of my favorites. So
yeah,
good for you for name dropping him.
I know, right? Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight and, taking time out of your busy schedule. As you said, you do quite a lot. But thank you again for sitting down with us and, giving your merman perspective on things, especially with the accessories. We really appreciate you saying that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You're welcome anytime, and thank you for having me and for doing what you two are doing, too.
Thanks. We really do like hearing that.
we do. It keeps us going. It keeps us motivated.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your night. Okay.
You too. See you two in like a month.
Yeah,
32 days.
A month.
Yeah.
Literally, month and 2 days.
Yeah. Bye.
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 I always feel relieved every time we have a guest on, and when they leave, I almost feel relieved because it's kind of like we did something good in a way. Like we got someone's perspective out there and, people heard it. And that's really what I like feeling. It almost feels like a weight's off my shoulders that I did something good that day.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, I guess we should kind of segue into our fun announcement.
I think we should, yeah.
I don't know. Is everyone ready to see this or hear this announcement? I mean, this is kind of big. I mean, these kind of events don't really happen often in our community. If you guys want to hear it, drop a comment right now. We'll either drop the whole thing or we'll just drop part of it, depending on how excited you guys are. There's 28 of you watching right now. Come on, let me hear it. I really want to see. This is quite large.
All right, we're getting lots of yeses, edge of our seats.
Okay, well, February is an important month, Christian. You know this, right?
Yes.
Something huge that we celebrate. Valentine's Day. I'm absolutely kidding. Everyone hates Valentine's Day. Everyone hates Valentine's Day. No, we celebrate.
I don't hate it.
I hate it. I think it's disgusting.
Well, as you guys know, I'm a big horror fanatic, so that's my time of the year to watch My Bloody Valentine, so I don't hate it.
Of course it is. Well, February is such an awesome and special month where we celebrate people in our community who definitely have a different cultural or I guess you could say community background, because there is a community behind these special people in our community, and I love February. I mean, and it's Black History Month. I mean, you can't really, I guess, devalue that month. It's such an important month in regards to worldly history, but more importantly, American history. So Christian and I are going to be dedicating the entire month of Merman Mondays. Every episode is going to be celebrating Black History Month, Black culture, anything Afrocentric. So every guest that we're going to have on is a person in our community who is a person of color. And, each episode, we're going to be asking questions about their perspective on the diversity and how things affect them as a person of color.
And we already have all 4 of our guests for the entire month booked, photos in the can, like they're ready to go. Like we we took our time to really plan this out, and we want to bring you nothing but the best. And
I mean,
I can't think of these four guests, epitomize the term, best.
Yes, absolutely. And I could not agree more with Christian. We definitely put a lot of work into this. Him and I discussed for weeks about which guests we wanted, how we wanted to represent this, even down to the ad that we produced for Merman Mondays, trying to make sure everything was culturally sensitive and was not going to come across as propagation or culturally, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the word now. If anybody's watching, when you take another person's culture and make it your own, what is the word?
Disrespect.
I mean, disrespect, yes, but appropriation. We were trying to make sure nothing was going to come across as cultural appropriation. We wanted to make sure everything was going to be right. So we're super excited about this because we know there's not a lot of representation in our mermaid community of people of color, and we want to
appropriation. Thank you.
Yeah, we want to do our part to help diversify our community as much as possible, especially if that means getting someone in our community and having their perspective, and hopefully someone watching our show will be inspired by them and want to join.
And I can't think of a better group of 4 people to especially kick off, our milestone that we're going to reach next week. So, I mean, I've known all of these MERs for a very long time, and I have nothing but respect for all of them. Like, they're incredible individuals, each in their own right. So I cannot wait to have each of them on here and have them share their stories with the world.
And they're very outspoken, which is something I'm looking forward to. I mean,
yes.
I'm really looking forward to that. I'd rather, like I said, get those raw, honest opinions on things. So, and by the way, anybody who's super excited about this, if you would like to see a sneak peek as to who our first guest is next week, go ahead and swim over to our link tree and join our Patreon, and you will get a sneak peek at our first guest before anybody else does. And I might even open up the forum to submit questions if you guys would like to. So if you guys want to be part of that, swim over to our link tree and definitely help out Merman Mondays and make a donation and get a sneak peek at that. I'm excited.
I'm so excited. I remember I was geeking when Jacob and I, each of us reached out to 2 guests each. So I reached out to my 2, and I'm like, hey, you know what time it is?
Absolutely. I mean, I was over the moon. And then also, Christian and I want to do a small shout out before we leave to Shay Monique for helping us, kind of mold this a little bit. I've been reaching out to her quite a bit in regards to our banner and making sure everything that we were doing in regards to approaching this was going to be culturally sensitive and not appropriation. So thank you so much to her.
Shay is a queen in her own right. Like, she has her whole entire ocean to herself.
Yes.
She has a 6th ocean.
Well, happy Merman Mondays, Christian. I'm so
happy Merman Monday. Yes, and we will see you guys next week for episode 20 and Black History Month. So take care, guys, and have a great night.